Hi guys, welcome to the Unlimited Expedition. Hi, I'm Jack.
And I'm Sophie.
And this is where we live.
But not anymore.
Hey guys, and welcome to the first installment. So this episode is going to be about us, about who we are, about what we're doing, and about our gear. So Sophie and I, we moved to Sydney about 3 years ago from Melbourne. We've decided that we're going to go back to Melbourne, but we're not going to go straight there. You might say we're going the long way around. Our itinerary looks something like this here on the map. From Sydney we're heading north to the northern New South Wales coastline and the hinterland. Then we're heading into southeast Queensland, up to Fraser Island. From Fraser Island we're going into western Queensland, then up to Cape York. From Cape York we're going to head west to the Northern Territory. We're going to visit Arnhem Land, Kakadu National Park and all the other big sites in that area. Moving on to Darwin, then down to the Pilbara, around the Western Australian coastline, onto Perth, Albany, around to Esperance, then across the Great Australian Bight and up to Alice Springs. We're going to visit Uluru and then come back through the Strzelecki and Flinders Ranges. We'll then head down the South Australian east coast to Robe and then back into Victoria and on to Melbourne. Forming the basis of our travel is the HEMA guidebook. I also have a variety of other resources, many state-specific little publications. I've also collected many trips from four-wheel drive magazines over the years and put them into this handy little folder. The fourth resource we use for planning our excursions is obviously the internet. So a little bit about our camping philosophy. We don't like just to be on the road constantly, changing locations every night. We do a little bit of that, but mostly we like to stay in a certain place for at least 3 days, 4 days, and longer if possible. So our setup is based around doing that. I've built this camper trailer, which is very lightweight. It allows us to get up into the very tight, difficult tracks and areas of the country. It weighs about 550 kilograms. It's designed to be able to fold out and have into a very comfortable system for an extended stay. At the same time, it can be quickly set up for an overnight stay on the way somewhere. So a lot of thought and effort has gone into the trailer. A lot of thought and effort has gone into the Jeep as well. So without further ado, I'm going to do a bit of a walk around of both. Let's begin with the vehicle. This vehicle is a 2009 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited Sport, fitted with a 2.8 Bonsinci Montali Motors diesel engine It has a 6-speed manual transmission. It's been heavily modified, mostly for off-road, reasonably serious off-road and touring. So, to start with, the car has a ARB Deluxe bull bar, fitted with a winch, worn 8,000 pound winch. The light is just a cheap eBay light. I did have a light across the front, on top of the windshield, but the New South Wales Police threatened to defect the vehicle for that, so I removed it pretty quickly. Headlights are Ignite. They are fantastic headlights, very good for what I paid for them. I think they're about $400. The vehicle is fitted with D-bore flares. These are really good flares. They are made of a rubber plasticky compound, which means that when you strike a tree or a rock or whatever, they are able to deflect or even crack, rather than some of the others on the market that are made of metal, which basically transfer the force into your panel work and then you've got a serious panel repair. We have a CB antenna, and we have also a small camera to... Okay guys, so we're running Mickey Thompson MTZ P3s on Pro Comp rims. Suspension is Synergy Springs 4-inch lift, Fox Racing 2.0 shock absorbers. Lower control arms are Synergy adjustable control arms. The upper control arms are Federal adjustable control arms. The axle is a standard Dana 30, but has had sleeves put into it, gussets on the C's, and it's had some other mods, a bit of angle iron added to it. I've bent that axle a couple of times, it's needed to be straightened, so it's probably the weakest spot of the vehicle. The drag link is a Synergy drag link. Track bar is also from D-bore down in Melbourne. The front damper, a Fox 2.0 steering damper, and I've made up my own removable mud guards. Just pull out the pin, pull them out, simple as that. Here is similar suspension, so lower control arms Synergy. I've got Synergy sway bar lift brackets, standard sway bar. The springs are 4-inch Synergy springs, and the axle is basically a stock axle, but it's fitted with an ARB air locker. So I have air lockers front and rear. The axles have been re-geared to 456. I find this about the best ratio for the variety of driving that I do. The rear of the car is fitted with a Jeep Mopar aftermarket steel bumper. I've modified the bumper to hold this tyre carrier. The tyre carrier and jerry can carrying assembly I made all myself. So we can carry two 20-litre jerry cans, whether it be 2 diesel, 2 water, or one of each. So at the moment I carry one of each. But when we go into the desert areas later on, we'll be carrying 2 diesel jerry cans. We've also got a rubbish bag fitted to the spare tyre, and of course our spare Mickey Thompson tyre. Opening up the rack, we've got our high lift jack sturdily mounted to the back of the vehicle, which is the safest place in my opinion. The rear bar has been fitted with 4 services. We have a onboard air, we have a 12-volt plug with a cap, we have a tap that has a pump inside that gives us good flow for our 40-litre on-board tank, which we'll look at in a minute. And the final point is the filling point for the tank. So via this point we can fill the tank, or we can take on grey water for a shower or whatever, if we to preserve our good drinking water in the tank. The top of the Jeep is fitted with a 250 watt flexible solar panel. The connection is just right here via an external Anderson plug. So that panel has thumb screws, and I can easily remove it. So when we're camping and we're camping out we want to camp in the shade, I can unscrew the solar panel very easily and locate it up to 10 metres away from the vehicle with my 10 metre extension cord. simply just plug it back in here. But for normal use, I just leave it on the top of the vehicle and click in the Anderson plug and pretty much free power. At the rear of the vehicle, we've done a lot of modifications for storage. At the bottom, we have a marine ply drawer system covered in marine carpet. It's a very large drawer, it goes all the way up to the back seats. In here I store all my recovery gear, all my tools and all my spare parts. The small tub underneath that the JKs have here at the back has the water pump for a 40-litre water tank. On top we have a shelf that I made. Again, extends back to the rear seat area. In here we keep all our little bits and pieces, our laptops, I've got my fishing gear there, hats, it's a very nice little area to keep stuff. The whole area has been designed around these Enviro crates. These crates are extremely strong and durable, very lightweight, and we really love them for the purpose of packing and utilising space very well. Located in the rear of the vehicle underneath this crate is a lift out panel, and in there is our 100 amp hour absorbed glass matte deep cycle battery. It's connected to the front battery via very heavy cables and allows us to actually start the vehicle if the main battery goes flat. Here we have the handle for our hand winch. We always carry a hand winch, never know when you're going to lose your front winch. We've got a first aid kit. I use a bottle jack, always prefer a bottle jack over a scissor jack. And we have down here lots of our little bits and pieces that we use regularly. So in the rear of the car we've actually pulled the seats out to allow room for our refrigerator and our food storage. At the bottom we have a 40-litre water tank which basically goes all the way across and over the transmission tunnel. Beside the water tank we have a very nice little long storage pocket. Down there I've got my 2-part shovel, I've got my fishing rod holders, I've got blankets, etc. I've got a 50-litre Waco fridge which has been great so far. Behind the fridge we have an electrical switchboard where I've got all the relays and the fuses and the switches, etc. to run all this gear. Up here I've got my 30 amp solar controller. It's a MPPT controller and it's mounted to the cargo barrier which I've just made up from rectangular hollow section and some wire from the local metal merchant. At the passenger side rear we have storage area for 2 Enviro crates at 50 litres. These crates house our food. Behind the Enviro crates, connected to the rear of the drawer system, is a 3000 watt 240 volt inverter, and we've also got our ARB compressor mounted back there. Okay, so the cockpit of the vehicle. First of all, I have an amp meter here for what's going in and out of the rear battery. This allows me to know how much solar is coming in or how much power is going out to the fridge or accessories. We have a pod up here on the A-pillar. I have the exhaust gas temperature. I have the winch in and out controller. I have the front and the rear camera selection button, and I have a light to turn on the auxiliary headlights. So down on the left hand side I have a trailer brake controller, electric brake controller. In the centre console I have a pod with my ARB air compressor switch. The auxiliary battery switch, this allows me to start the car from the rear battery. Front and rear ARB air lockers. In the centre console I have the voltage of the main battery and the voltage of the auxiliary battery. I have an override switch and I have USB ports for 2 USB plugs. Above the rear view mirror I have a very cheap Android pod which I use to talk to the ECU via the OBD2 connector, and I've got the boost, voltage, coolant, fuel rail pressure and kilometers. Also above the rear view mirror is an 80 channel Uniden citizen band radio. Camper trailer has effectively three parts to it. It has a standard rooftop tent with an annex, it has an awning, and it has the trailer part itself. So let's go in and have a look inside the trailer. Hi guys, welcome inside the palace. So in the palace we have basically a rooftop tent annex here on the side. This is where we generally get changed, and if it starts raining outside we can move the chairs in and play a game of cards or whatever we want. Up here is actual trailer flooring. We do use this for a lot of storage. We put our clothes up here, we put our our toiletries and that sort of thing. Very handy little area. You can see that I've fitted out the trailer with LED lighting. So both downstairs and upstairs have LED lighting, which is operated by a remote control that's in my pocket. And basically that's it. We can open the windows if the weather permits, or we can hide away in here and try and keep warm. So the sleeping quarters is upstairs, and I invite you to come and have a look. The kitchen is pretty well equipped. We've got running water, a sink, we've got our little 2-burner cook stove here, we've got our 2 gas bottles there, 2 drawers that house all our little bits and pieces, our cutlery, and we have our plates in here and crockery, and in this side we have all the utilities. So basically we have a hose to extend the drain out and a few other little bits and pieces. So the final section that I'll walk through with you is our shower. So we have an Oz Trail shower tent, and inside is pretty standard. We've just got plastic mat on the ground there, plastic mat out here. We have a gas hot water system, which is fantastic when you're in a cold environment like this. To come back and have a warm shower is just the best thing in the world. So this first episode has been about us and our trip planning, but the rest of the series is going to be more focused on our lifestyle, our day-to-day lives throughout the trip. And one last thing guys, at the end of each episode we're going to do a bit of a review on some of the products we use or some of the systems that we've installed. So I hope you enjoy the show, and welcome to the Unlimited Expedition.